What's up, Coach Hayes? What's going on with you?
What's going on, man? Hey, just chilling.
Man, hey, we in the house. We gonna try to get on some of the success that we had last week. We're gonna talk about this week. We're gonna talk about camps and combines. Uh, you know, um, Basically, the first 5 minutes. I want to make sure that I always give you time to give. And we logged on a little early to give you time. I'm gonna let you talk to 9:05 about whatever it is you want to talk from Coach Hayes' corner.
Okay, I like it. I mean, like I said, our last session was pretty good, man. I got a lot of good feedback from, some fellow coaches, some parents as well about the information that we put out there, man. And I think we on to something good, man. So hopefully we can get, some good followers, man, when it comes to this, because I know we're trying to do this every Tuesday or so.
Yeah, on Tuesdays we gonna always have the show going on. So every Tuesday we gonna always have something going on with the show. So every Tuesday, Coach Hayes gonna get to come on and do a little Coach Hayes corner. I rather call it Coach K, instead of Coach Hayes. But I guess somebody
I'm
always
gonna
got
let
the
K.
moniker.
Hey, man, I'm gonna let K have his. I call it Hayes Huddle. How about that?
Yeah, we in Hayes huddle, man. So talk to him, Hayes. Like, what you got anything special you want to talk to him about, or because we're gonna definitely talk about camps and combine down the line. But if it's something you want to talk to the parents and the people about that maybe you didn't get a chance to finish up last week, or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, man. I started off early before I was rudely interrupted. Before by you, but it's all good, man. But I was saying we talk about decision making when it comes to that recruiting process. And what I was saying earlier actually was that this is a huge decision for kids and parents. Like I said, especially for this kid, this is the first major decision he's ever made in his life. Uh, because like I said before, he didn't even get a chance to pick his own name. So this is opportunity to pick his own university and to pick your college he want to go to. So it takes a lot of thought. You need to put a lot of thought into it. Don't get caught up with the logos. Don't get caught up with the hype. You need to actually sit down and think about it, process that information. Because again, this is a huge decision, man. This is a 4-year commitment, 4 to 5 year commitment.
Yeah, man. What I see, nowadays is almost a 3 to 4 year commitment. But what kids definitely need to understand that right now, the most important thing, and parents, is to make sure that you go to the right school for you. Some schools it might be, uh, some schools it might not be the right thing, and some schools are the right thing. And kids, like, because there's a lot of kids that turn down D1 AA D2 scholarships so they could go to D1 schools, which walk on at a D1 school. And in the day, money is money. So I just think that's crazy that you had parents and kids that did that. But I'll get your take on it, Coach.
I mean, again, it's the same thing because you see the transferring. Like I said, kids get caught up with these logos. They get caught up with, oh, I'm D1, I'm D1. It don't work out like you. And before you know it, you're in the transfer pool, and a lot of these guys are going down to our, smaller divisions so they can play right away and they don't have to sit out a year. So, and again, that probably was always the best decision for you anyway, but you got caught up with, with the whole hype. So, like I said, I tell people all the time, if you good, they're going to find you. If you good, some of our best players that ever played in the NFL came from schools. You got Walter Payton came from Jackson State at HBCU. You had Jerry Rice came out of Mississippi Valley. You got some great players that came out of small schools. You remember the receiver Garcon, he came out of a D3 out of Defiance in Ohio. I mean, so if good, they're going to find you, man. So again, you got to make sure that, like you just said, that fit is good for you. That's a place where you can see yourself, thriving and making good decisions for yourself.
Okay, man. So hey, like I said, we started always a little early, give Coach a little time to discuss things. So, but we're gonna get on what the topic this week is. The topic this week we're gonna talk about camps and combines. Um,
So
you
now,
know, One of the things that there's a whole bunch of camps and combines coming up. you from a high school coach perspective, as also someone who coached, on the college level, what are your thoughts about high school camps and combines?
I mean, here's my thing about camps. I'm gonna always say this, and I'm gonna always make sure I promote this part. Parents, do not break the bank trying to go to these camps and combines. You know what I mean? And the thing about the camps and combines, a lot of hype. It's a lot of marketing that goes into that, and there's some good things about it. Again, these camps and combines are used as a tool. Use them as a tool, because these colleges are not all that invested in the camps, because the only thing they're really looking at is something that they can actually take from there. And usually your height and weight, because that is something that is definite. Because as coaches, sometimes we add an inch or two to you trying to put out there. So they're going to actually look at these because they're certified numbers. These camps going to put you on the scale. They're going to measure your height, so they can get a pretty accurate number. These colleges can get a pretty accurate measurement from these camps.
Now, what I've seen, another thing I'll get into a little bit more, but as a coach, as a parent, if I'm coming to you, I'm AG Waseem, my son's a freshman, and I'm going to go to one of these camps that come around. You know, how would I know from what's a good camp for me to go to from a coach's perspective? I'll elaborate in a second, but just from a coach's perspective, high school coach, you know, why should I go to these camps?
Well, again, you should go to these camps. The first thing is you can measure yourself against competition. It's great to use it as a tool to measure yourself, to kind of see where you stand against some of the other players, maybe in your area, your region. And again, it's also a way to get your measurables out there to these colleges as well. And it's also a way to compete, and maybe you get a chance to, pick up a couple tools for your toolbox from some of these guys who's running these camps.
Okay, so now I pretty much let you talk about it. So I'll give my takes on them. In my opinion, the only reason you should go to camps and combines is exactly like you said. You should be going to camps and combines because you have good measurables. In my opinion, kids who have good measurables as far as their height and weight, they should always go to a camp because college coaches, when they look at camp, these like all the camps that are out there, they really are looking for verifiable height and weights because they know their parents are gonna lie about their kids' height and weight, and they know their coaches are gonna lie about their kids' height and weight. Mike Thompson has a recruiting service. I know the Coach Thomas has a recruiting service. Anytime that I've had a camp or combine, they want to be there to get the height and weight because they know that when they talk to the coach, this kid is 6 foot 190, but when their coaches come and see him, because they all use certain data, now they see this kid is really 5'8", 165 pounds. So that's the importance of camps and combines. And the other thing is we talked about measurables, we talked about physical measurables, but they also want to see like the other thing is a lot of kids are going out there and they're running these 5 flats, these 5 2s, and it's getting recorded, and so now you may have gotten faster, you may have gotten now you're down to a 4.6, 4.7, but that 5.2, 5.3 is still out there. So, parents and people get in a rush, because, the crazy thing is you have parents and people thinking that their kid in high school is 4.3, but he ain't running no track, but he running a straight 4.3, which is ridiculous. I mean, he's running faster times than professionals at the combine. So, people need to be a little bit more realistic about the kids' times. But I personally agree with you. It's a tool to use in the event it helps prepare you for what you're going to be doing at a college camp. In my opinion, that's really the only thing like these local combines are great for. And since we kind of got on the topic, let me go ahead and we might as well go ahead and broach it real quick. We got a couple of them coming, to the pipe right now. Number one, you got Under Armour. Under Armour was here last week. We know that it was here last week. So, I don't know. Did you get a chance to go out there, Coach Hayes, this year?
No, man, I was actually in Georgia, man, so I didn't get a chance to go to the Under Armour camp. No.
Oh, okay, let me ask you this. You've been before. So what's your take on Under Armour camps?
Again, like I said, I mean, I keep saying that they're tools. They're great. I just think sometimes our kids put too much weight on them. They walk around with those cards and they get measured and they get all this and they get to see where they fall. There are certain percentiles and so forth. But again, I keep stressing this. Use it as a tool to find out where you fall in these certain categories. There's nothing wrong with them. And I'm not sure. I think Under Armour does the laser 40. You know
Yes,
that?
they do.
So if you get a laser 40, man, that's something you got to be cautious with because, like you said, once that time gets marked, it's pretty much there for your high school career. Unless you just come out of nowhere and just blow it out the park. So with that being said, you got to kind of treat this, somewhat like the NFL guys do when they don't do certain events at the NFL combine. If your foot speed is not where you think it is, I strongly suggest, especially on laser clocks, be weary of it. I put it that way. Because I can't tell you I would strongly suggest it, but I tell you not to do it. But, and one thing about the laser, it's not your coach out there clicking that button. The laser is the laser. So if you're not having been trained properly on how to run the 40, if you haven't been trained on the proper movements, I mean, you can kill your time. You can have a legit time, be a legit fast kid, but because you haven't been trained on how to run that 40, I mean, it can put you in the dumps.
See, now that's the kind of stuff I wanted to hear on that last segment. But I think you look like you still a little exhausted from Georgia. But that was the kind of stuff that I was trying to pull out of you. But we'll do better next time. So we have a question
Okay.
from one of Don Draper. He said, "Are combines worth it? Rivals the opening. We'll get all of that." He asked the camp or combine which one is bang for your buck. And then he made a statement that a lot of people, had an issue with. I know at the Under Armour this week was that he said it seems like the top dogs are pre-selected. He was at Under Armour and the kid for the Future 50 as well as the UA All American selection was presented on pre-printed cards. And I mean I was there, and I can be totally, man. I saw a kid win MVP and didn't catch one ball. I was just like literally did not catch one ball in one on one.
Sure.
So I'm sitting there like, wow, But and I know, and no disrespect to Under Armour because I've worked for U.S. Army, we've done it too. I've seen us do it too. I was at an event, and I've seen rivals do it too. I was at the event this a while back, so I can say the kid's name because he ended up winning the Elite 11. But before we went to the Elite 11 thing, this man, he was one of my quarterbacks. His name is Asante. He might come on here and say something one day. But Asante, I went to a camp, man. That dude, I swear to God, was 0 for 25, and he won MVP. I swear to
Yeah, I
God,
can't
two
believe.
scores.
Yeah,
I did,
yeah,
but it is to his credit, he went out there to Elite 11, was like the lowest ranked guy, and he actually won it. So, you know, uh, that the thing about those type of camps and combines, and I think that we got to get into the difference. Under Armour, Nike, Rivals, they're free. So they are having those combines because they want the top elite athletes to come out there so they can promote them and say same thing with us. What the U.S. Army isn't free. We charge them like $300 to go out 350. But but the only thing about that is they must have a D1 scholarship offer in order to even be there. But all of those type events are looking for the guys who are already known, pretty much. You know,
right.
you know. Now, if you're just a kid with some freakish statistics, yeah, of course you'll get known. But they're actually looking for those kids in advance. Wouldn't you agree?
I totally agree. And it's funny you said that. Like I said, it's already on pre-printed cards. So again, back to what I was saying, parents, take it as a tool, man. So many people get caught up with this and that, and I'm not gonna say any names because I don't want to rub certain people the wrong way. I'm still trying to brand this thing, but it's marketing, man. It's business. This is a business. And so when that being said, they already kind of got the guys in which they want to promote and push, and you just said it with the quarterback. 4 for 25, and he still goes to the Elite 11.
Man, 4 for 25, I could have took it. I'm talking about 0 for 25, zero. Zero.
Oh, zero. I thought you said 4. I'm sorry.
No, it was at
Zero to
West.
25.
That this is West
Listen,
Orange
but
High
Logic
School.
can't. Hey man, that's even worse, man. I ain't gonna lie to you. But at the end of the day, like I said, they make their decisions based on on the hype that's already given to them previously, through the rankings and so forth. And so again, AG is what it is, man. Is what it is. It's
Well,
marketing at its best. You got these major multi-billion-dollar companies and Nike and Under Armour, and it just is what it is.
well, I mean, Under Armour is invite only. Nike, the opening part is invite only. Rivals, the opening part is invite only. I do like the fact that Rivals and Nike gives a kid an opportunity to come to the event the day before. If they test really well, then they're invited to come back the next day. I think that's
Correct.
actually pretty good. And I just have a theory on my end. If it's anything under $40, you should go. $40, $50,
I
you
agree
should
with
go
that.
because, in my opinion, that's just helping prepare them. Because the reality is, when you go to any of these combines, they generally are giving kids an opportunity to to know what to do when they go to camps. And also, good thing about Rivals is they're going to have all the writers there. All the sports writers are going to be there, and they're going to write about stuff like that. Same thing with Nike. Same thing with Under Armour. They all have the writers there. So those are the bigger name camps. And what I try to tell parents is before you go to these bigger name camps, you touched on it. You should make sure your kid is properly trained. Make sure that they understand. Like they shouldn't be going these camps not knowing what they run in the first place.
Right.
Don wants to know if Rivals is no longer tied to Army All American. Is it worth doing? Rivals is still Rivals is not tied, but it's still a good one to go to because they do a pretty good job. They're, in my opinion, their reporters do a really good job of making sure that they get kids' names out there. Now, it's not tied to the U.S. Army game anymore, which is not no longer the U.S. Army, it's All American game. And basically, 247 Sports is the people who help select and pick those guys at that event. So 247 pretty much now is the major factor in who's going to be playing the game, which is going to be on NBC. It's called All American game. The only difference is it's no All American Bowl. Excuse me. The only difference is it's no longer sponsored by All American Games. But to me, Rivals is still a good camp to go to because what I do like that they do is they allow kids to come on Saturday that aren't well known, and if they do what they're supposed to do, they do get to compete against kids who are more highly rated. So anytime you get opportunity to get that kind of stuff, it's always a good opportunity in my opinion. What about you, Coach?
Yeah. Yeah, man. I mean, like I said, it's great that they do give the 2 days because it gives them a chance to find a sleeper athlete out there.
Right.
Somebody that's not somebody that, like I said, that may be just popping on the scene. Somebody that maybe was on JV or something like that was athletic, or he just played a very small role on his varsity and it's his turn, and so he doesn't have the hype just as yet. He doesn't, he hasn't had the recruiting opportunity just as yet. So that's a great opportunity, like I said, and you said something huge. I mean, if it's $40 or less, and it's something that you can afford, I mean, that's a great opportunity to go out there, perform, and get yourself out there. Especially now, social media has changed the game.
Right.
With these writers now, I mean, they literally touching, tens of thousands, if not millions, of people at the click of a button about you. So you go in there Saturday morning at 9 o'clock, nobody knows you. By 4 o'clock, you on everybody's radar. So it's a great opportunity for you.
Yeah, Paul said Under Armour camp are all year long process. Paul, elaborate on that when you get a chance, because I don't know what you mean on that. But like I said, now we're gonna go into a few more camps out there. You have well, you have FBU, which is which I used to work for, so I'm gonna uh, it's it's a little different. It's FBU. They have like their camps where it's a 2 day camp. You pay some money. That your kid is being trained by generally former professional and college athletes at their position. I think it's a great tool. I think, quite frankly, it's a little pricey, and it goes back to what you said, if you can't afford it. I think it's hard to do when you're looking at, $200, uh, you know, to go to anything over 200, like, $200 for a camp. I think that's hard on a lot of parents. So you really aren't going to have a lot of your top notch athletes out there because their parents aren't going to pay that unless they're getting scholarship in. That's just really the bottom line. So what's your thoughts on that, Coach?
I mean, the same thing, man. We kind of go in circles with it, but you're exactly right. I mean, FBU is a little pricey. 2-day deal, $200 is a lot. $200 is a lot, especially in today's times. Where every penny counts, and if you can go, and I'm not as familiar with FBU as I am rivals and the Nike and Under Armour and so forth, but and by you working for them, so I guess you can probably answer some of these questions. I would assume they would have the writers out there as well at some of these camps.
Sorry. Yeah, no, Hayes, I'm on, man. The next guest we had is Faheem, and he's having trouble logging on. So, give me a second. Go ahead and talk to the people. I'm gonna get Faheem on because he has his future star camp. So I'm gonna try to make sure we get him on. So go ahead and talk a little bit more about. Um, you don't know nothing about those camps, so we can talk a little bit more about whatever you want to talk about. Let me see if I can get
All right, well,
Faheem
let
on.
me go through some of the comments, man. I'll check some of these comments and I'll talk about those.
All right, cool.
All right, so now I see Phil Knight. He says, "Is it a difference between clock and laser?" I mean, definitely. Clock is, when you got coaches out there hand timing, and they're trying to, time your movement. So when you move, they start the watch, and when you cross that goal, the finish line, they stop it. So again, it's always human error, human reaction. Laser is off your movement. When you take your hand off that pad, it starts the clock. And as soon as your body crosses that laser beam, it stops the clock. So it's pretty accurate. So usually your laser time is a little slower than hand time because again, there's not a human reaction to that. It's all about laser. So to answer your night, Paul. I mean to answer your question, Paul. Laser is a little faster, is a little slower, and hand times usually are a little faster. So that's why we said earlier when you go to these camps and they doing laser, you got to be cautious. So if your coach clocked you at running a 4.5, you're probably running about a 4 or 4.8 somewhere in there. All right, because again, we talking about a tenth of a second here. We're not talking about full seconds, so it goes pretty quick.
Hey, I think Faheem is going to be trying to get in a second, but Don asked another good question. He said, if June is the big month for on-campus camps, college camps, that's what we're talking about, how do you select the best schools to hit? Should you focus on your state? Should you travel the nation? As someone who does college bus tours, I believe that if I was a kid from Florida, I'm trying to go to all the camps I can outside of Florida because I think that a kid from Florida, prime example. My son was a kid that there go Fahim right there. My son was a kid that got to Washington State basically because he was able to and Fahim is on, but I'm just talking. Fahim, a gentleman asked about the college camp, so I'm just addressing that. I'll let you get on. But my son we went to a camp that was out of state in Tennessee, and he was able to be seen by Washington State, and that was one of the things that opened my eyes to it because he was like a regular 2-3 star kid here, but he was able to get a scholarship there because those kids from Florida, as well as I do, there's kids from Florida that supposedly are 2 and no star kids that are better than kids as 4 and 5 star kids in other areas of the country. It's just that simple because of the talent that they go against is way more phenomenal than the talent. Like a kid in Miami is going against way more talent than a kid in Lincoln, Nebraska. It's just what it is.
Sure.
So and I think that people in Florida should be willing to travel. That's really what made me come up with the whole bus trip and stuff of that nature because I realized that a kid from Florida, if I can get them out to these other places. And also these kids need to understand it's weird that Fahim, you came on and Coach Hayes, you came on because we can let people know, number one, all of y'all was born in South, in Miami, but
Yeah.
Hayes went to school in Virginia. Faheem, you went to school in Louisiana and in Michigan. Your son
Yeah.
is currently in school in Kentucky. So, people need to, take advantage of that because, one thing I hate to see, and I see it all the time in Florida's kids, that they only look at Florida, Florida State, and Miami. And,
Right.
and there's other schools out there. So, those are things that, we want to make sure that we impart on them. But I got my boy, my frat brother on the line. I feel
Yo.
Coach Hayes, I see you on here, man, but I got to take you down. I'm gonna bring you right back, but I just want the people. I
Hey,
want
it's all good. I
to,
do. Hey, but I did just want to say one thing before you kick me off here, man. Which was, it's teasing, man. What you just said, man. We do have some kids that, I remember when I was at FIU, we had a game, man. So Saturday we watching the game. We had Booker T. Washington was playing Bishop Gorman out in Vegas. They had like the number 3 defensive end in the country. Booker T had an offensive tackle. Nobody knew who he was shutting him down. And they had to move this kid. They had to move this defensive end all over the field trying to get him so he could make some plays because he was about to mess up his offense, man. So, like I said, with the competition is stiff down this way, as we all know that, man. And to say what you were talking about, our kids got to get outside of the state of Florida because we don't have small-town football, man.
Yep.
It's either, it's the big 3, of course, and, UCF is coming along as well, and USF, but we don't have Division II program football. So they need to start looking outside of the state lines. Hey, man, I ain't seen you in a minute, dog.
What's up, family?
Man, we're going to chop it up right after this, dog.
Hey, man, just hold on, Hayes. Don't log off. I'm just gonna put
No,
it
I ain't
down
going
so
nowhere.
people can see. People can see. I'm gonna bring you right back. That
It's all good.
I'm a blog, but you coming back on. But nah, man. I had to make sure they see these 2 good-looking nukes. We had to get these extra.
Yo.
We gotta let them do that. But no, man. I had to bring you on, man. I know that we got future stars coming up. Tell the
Yes,
people
sir.
about future stars a little bit, and tell these parents how they can get their kids registered.
Okay, well, first of all, thank you for having me on the show. I actually like how this is put together, and it's definitely something to look forward to later on. Things that I'm doing. But Future Stars game, man. Vallister Wilson started Future Stars game back in 2011, and as you can see right now, it's 2019, and so you kicking down 8 years right now of it being in existence. I actually joined forces with Val 5 years ago. Actually, this class is just passed. That's here right now. This class 2019 was actually my third my third class. So this is actually my 6th year being involved with Future Stars game as a director of Florida. But as I tell parents all the time at the tryouts when they ask them what is Future Stars game, I let them know that Future Stars game is not it's not an all-star game. It's a life-changing experience. It's not your ordinary all-star game. Now we give these. I think we give these student athletes the closest experience of being a college student athlete for 5 days. They come to a campus. They report on campus. Never been there. They never practice with the coaches. They don't really know their teammates or things of that nature. And they get a chance to not only meet lifetime friends, but to eat 3 times a day at the college. They stay in the college dorms. They practice 2 times a day. They got their own schedule. They got to be at practice on time. They got off the field activities. And they got to grab somebody offense or defense in a matter of 5 practices and then play on that following day. So, and give these student athletes a chance to really know what they want to do, if they want to be a college student athlete or not. And it's been working right now. Right now, the class of 2019 is from December, and right now on February 6th, which is last week Wednesday, we have 82 student athletes that signed scholarships that came out of our program in the class of 2019. So I think it's working right now. They say once you get a taste of something, if you really like it, then you'll continue and you'll proceed to make that your dream and pursue your dream. I think that's what we're giving these student athletes right now.
And hey, man, I appreciate it. I can speak. Val is our frat brother too.
Yes.
That's another. But even in the beginning when 5 years ago when we linked up and I had a lot of those kids like Tyler Davis and
Yes.
kids like the Naz at Clemson. They came through. They had a great experience. But we talking about these new future stars that's coming up, like these
Yes.
7, 8 up right now. You got parents that are going to see this because we, after the broadcast, we always, put it out there live for everybody.
Okay.
How can they register and get their kids? What are the next upcoming dates for future stars,
Okay.
and how can they register to get their kids at the camp?
All right, we've already been in 3 cities: Miami, Tallahassee, Jacksonville, which I just wrapped up Jacksonville on Sunday. You can go on futurestarsgame.com. That's futurestars with an S on it, game.com, and you'll register. You'll pull up a Florida camp. With the remaining camps that we do have, we'll be in Gainesville on Saturday. We'll be in Tampa on Sunday. That's coming up, which is, this weekend, I believe, is the 15th and 16th. Then the following week, we're inside Cocoa Beach, Florida. And then we're in Orlando, Florida, your hometown right there where you're at. I know you're from Texas, but you reside in Orlando. And then following that, we'll be inside Fort Myers and Palm Beach. And then we're finishing up in Fort Lauderdale on March 9th. So we got 6 more great tryouts. I think right now is when it really started getting big. Though I've seen some good talent thus far, especially in Jacksonville and Tallahassee. And then we got to talk about this quarterback, man. This is probably one of the best kids I've seen in a long time at this age group, at this age level, or this grade level, is 6th grade. But he really, really impressed me this weekend inside Jacksonville as a 6th grader and trying out with the 7th and 8th graders. So, but yeah, I mean, futurestarsgame.com. It's $45. It comes with you run your 4, you run your 5, 10, 5, but that's not really what I look at in the tryouts. I really want to see what they know in the game as an individual. Mental notes. I always talk about mental notes. This is not a coaching camp. This is not a camp where you come to learn. I need the dogs right now. I need the guys that are ready right now. I don't need a student athlete that if 5 guys go in front of him that run the route and then he comes after them and running the wrong way. That means they're not paying attention. Those are mental notes. I need guys that if a coach tell a person to do something and then he come back and ask him to do it again and he don't do it the right way, that's not the guy that we're looking for right now. Maybe they need to go to a couple of more instructional camps to learn how to do these things. And that's what we're doing in between process. We're building up before Future Stars Game tryouts for next year. We're going to have developmental camps. But as of right now, I need them guys that are dogs that's going to come represent not only their city where they're from, but the whole state of Florida.
Well, man, you know that one other thing that, and I'm going to bring back Coach Hayes. I want to give you time in the sun so that you can talk a little bit about that, and that way everybody knows. So how many kids, before I bring it back, how many kids do y'all select for Future Stars Game Florida for each team? And what are the things that, as far as you guys, when they come out to the showcase, you pick the guys right there? Do you like take time and go back to the
process? All right, so we select 50 student athletes on each grade level. So we could select for the team Florida 50 6th graders, 50 7th graders, 50 8th graders. And let me rephrase that. We always carry a couple of 5th graders with our 6th grade group because our 6th grade group are all like low. They're low all the time, but those 5th graders get a chance if they're their dogs to participate with those 6th grade groups. But no, there's a selection process. If you look at it, I got to hit 9 cities. So I have 6 more cities because I've only been to 3. And I have to wait till all the tryouts are over. So we write down notes. We go based on things that they've done in tryouts. And we take their picture and we evaluate afterwards. Now, I'll tell you what. There are some student athletes that get a chance to walk away with the MVP. And they automatically make the team. So every week we give out a Pump MVP award. Where Pump is the title sponsor this year. And if you get that award on your grade level for that camp, don't worry about anything else. You automatically make the team.
Okay. And once they make the team, is there a fee that they have to pay or anything like that?
Yes.
And also this year's game, where is it going to be?
Okay. Well, we go back and forth from Florida and Georgia. Last year was at FAU. This year will be at Kennesaw State. Stay in the dorms. Fee. Yes, there is a fee. Room and board is the majority of what this thing costs. There's some things that we just can't change. I mean, if a chicken wing costs 99 cents, I can't change the chicken wing for cost 99 cents. All the extra bells and the whistles, uniform and shorts and things of that nature. But room and board, they got to get their money. God willing, man, we get somebody to come along. We've been getting sponsors here and there, but we haven't gotten that big one which we really need. That to the point where those student athletes don't have to do anything but have some skin in the game, maybe $100, stuff like that. But there is a fee, and what it does is the $45 trial fees. That usually takes care of like travel and everything for the coaches. We go into every city, but what's left over that defrays the cost on what divides up between 150. Let me rephrase. 300 student athletes between Florida and Georgia, and that divides up into what that cost is for women board. So we've never maxed out over 400 because things has been there. It really should cost more, but then I think it takes away from the game on it being affordable because I know everybody don't have that to go ahead and pay to be a part of it. So, but there are hard costs that we have that we can't get around, and that's why we charge those fees.
Okay, and what are the dates on the games this year?
June 12th through the 15th. June 12th is a Wednesday. They'll report at Kennesaw State, usually at 7 in the morning. And we'll go through, and the game will be on the 15th, which is a Saturday. And because of those 8th grade student athletes, we can't play at Kennesaw State because they'll be recruitable, so it's against the NCAA rules. So we're going to play at a local high school in the area, which is one of the main high schools. We just can't mention it yet because of the time frame, and we have to lock it in, and they only allow us to do it 3 months before the game takes place. But we have a big idea of where we're going to be playing at, but we're going to it'll be played on June 15th.
All right, man. Well, hey, man, I just want to let you know, man, I appreciate you. I'm going to let you hold on before I let you go, because we're going to go over a couple more camps that are going down, and then we'll have a little more question and answer. And, you can stay on and perhaps answer some of the questions that will be coming through. The next camp that we had that I know that I'm looking at, I'm trying to find on there. Okay, we got Future Stars taken care of. We have the Certified Dog Camps. And Mr. Alan Thomas, I know that you're probably looking on. Can you go ahead and log on so that we can get you to talk a little bit about what's going on with some of the RNO 100 and other camps that are going on? Certified Dog Camp, that's actually one of my camps that we're doing in conjunction with the Legends Showcase, in conjunction with the Flxx 50, which we're on Flxx Sports channel right now. My thing is, with me being in the business as long as I've been, and I just believe that these combines have to have some validity in helping kids get to college. I mean, if they're not helping them get to college, then it can't just be about a moneymaker. And so what I've come up with now is and we all here know Mike Thompson. Mike Thompson's one of my guys, and he has a recruiting service. So every kid that comes through the service, all the information automatically goes to his recruiting service, as well as Coach Thomas. Coach Dwight Thomas at XOS Digital. So now the kids get an opportunity to have all the information, the height, weights, all that in the database. I'm not really focused on the 40s and stuff like that. I want to see what their skill sets are like, because I need to see, like you said earlier, Faheem, what kind of football player are you?
Yeah.
Because I see a lot of kids right now. I know a lot of kids that can run a 4.3, 4.4, but they're not a football player. So the reason I kept Faheem on, you don't know it, but Pump Water gonna be sponsoring the dog camps and some of the legends. The Legends camp, you had the Legends Showcase 3 years in a row. We've been blessed to where when kids make the Legends game, they don't pay anything. We do have a sponsor, so they don't pay one thing. So but one thing that we want to do is give all the kids an opportunity to make the team. So, that way you come out there, you perform. And once again, when we do the Legends Showcase, we don't even run the 40. We really looking at what you do in your position drills and all of that kind of stuff. And because one thing that I know, and I'll ask you, Faheem, and I'll ask you too, Coach Hayes, I think that personally, what a lot of coaches look at is your individual position drills and what you do with one-on-ones. I mean, I think that we need to get away from these kids thinking they got to run these 40s and verticals and all that, because I'm telling you, I might have seen maybe 2 kids in my life get offered because of what they ran on a 40. Like I was at a camp as a matter of fact, I was at camp at North Carolina. This kid, man, I'm telling you, I don't know if he ran a 4.3, but I know he was fast. And they offered him a 4.5. And I mean, like, man, I'm telling you, I know that kid was fast. So, but for the most part, most of the kids I see getting offered are the kids who really light it up in individual drills.
Yes.
Ones and stuff of that nature. So how do you guys feel about that?
I mean, I'll go first.
Go ahead, Kyle.
Sorry about that, but I'll go first, man. But listen, the 3 things coaches want are the 3 things they can't coach, right? Size, speed, and heart. They can't coach that stuff. So that being said, they're gonna put you on the scale. They're gonna do your 40 time, and like you said, when it comes to those competition drills, your individuals, your one-on-ones and stuff, that's when they want to see where you're hard at. You know what I mean? They want to see that you ain't sliding to the back of the line. They want to see you trying to get all the reps you can. They want to see that you not taking time off to go to the side and breathe hard. You want to get as many reps as you can because you're only there for an hour. So that's another thing about those camps when you go to those, especially on those college campuses. That's what those guys sitting back looking for. They can't coach. Size, speed, and heart, man.
Well, I say it like this right here. I didn't learn how to run until I was in college, first of all. And the only reason why I think we have it inside our tryouts is because we want to get them accustomed to what they're going to have to do later on and go from there. Because if you don't do it and you don't learn how to do it, how are you going to be good at it? So that's the only reasons why I think we have it in our deal. But it's recorded, but it's not recorded online to where like these Nike camps and everything else do it. Because I always tell a story that my son, he ran and I was just getting him out there just to see where he was at and see. He had just came off of surgery, and he ran a 4 in the 40, and after having a great sophomore season in his first year back, we went to try to get inside the invite camp with Nike, and they didn't allow us to come in. I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm just going on what he did as a sophomore. And they said, well, hey, he ran like a 5.3 in the 40 as a 9th grader. And I realized at that point that, that's on the system. It's recorded. So I told my son at that point, I believe I was talking to you then, AG. I told him we're not running the 40 ever again for anybody. They're going to look at your gameplay, and that's all they're going to look at. And one of my homeboys has been in the college system for a long time. He's at Memphis right now. He said, Ali, if your son not running a legit 4.5 or better, he don't need to run no 40.
Exactly. Thank you.
And that's it. So he said if a coach say they got to see it, put it on you. So I used to tell my son, if they say something, say, nah, my daddy said I'm kind of tight here when I'm running.
Right. Because I tell people the same thing. Like I think at all the little middle school camps, like even at some of the camps, if we ran the 40, I'm not giving it to I would give it as an instructional. Say, hey man, this is what your time is. But all the middle school camps, like I think that all kids should do it at a middle school camp so that you have an idea. But I'm a firm believer that you take it behind the Nike rivals because one thing I do know, the college coaches do look at Nike. They do look at Nike to see what your measurables because they've been around a long time. They know that is a laser 40. And I'm a firm believer in what the coach told you in Memphis. Unless you run legit 4.5, there's no reason to be on that. And I saw a kid, once again, I bring up North Carolina. He had a North Carolina offer, and I told the kid because I knew he didn't run like that. I said, man, do not run this 40. He's like, coach, they telling me. I said, look, bro, put it on me. Now, next thing I know, he ran a 40. He ran a 5 flat. It was over. But hey, we go. Coach Hayes looking like a puppy dog but I got it on the background, but I'm gonna bring it back in a second. But coming to the stage, like my boy Martin would say, is probably the most ugliest video recording person
Oh
where
my God!
it's Cat
You done
Thomas
broke
for
my
y'all who
camera two,
don't
three
know.
times now. Don't.
Yeah, that there he is. That's my boy. First of all, Faheem, we got to give him hands up. He about to have his first baby, bro. He about to
Oh
have
man,
his first
congratulations, bro!
baby, man.
Congratulations.
Thank God his wife is beautiful and lovely.
Uh,
So we ain't got to worry about the baby not looking good. So we brought him on, man, because I want to tell the people about something that we're doing. Uh, Alan is really entrenched himself in the babies, like in the 8th grade, 7th grade, 6th grade. He's someone that is definitely going to make sure that a lot of those kids come to the Future Stars camps. Out there for you. But we partner together to do stuff for the high school kids because
Okay.
if you haven't seen Alan's film, go to R&R. I'll let you tell him. Tell him, Alan.
what's up, everybody? What's up, Faheem?
Okay, brother.
Well, yeah, Rough and Ruckus, R&R, baby. If you want to see any of our film or footage, go to YouTube and look up R&R Sports Media, or you could go on IG. But every weekend, I'm out somewhere recording somebody playing football. At the end of the day, these kids need a whole bunch of exposure. You get me? And it's not a lot of cameramen out here. And to be real, not a lot of good cameramen out here, but I'm here to provide that for the kids. You get what I'm saying? So I'm here to I'm here to basically just bring all the kids together. Keep this between me and AG is really to basically make it a full on transition from the little kids I develop, expose, and so forth, and we get them into high school, get them into camp, get their parents to understand way earlier than later what it is for recruiting, what it is for camps, what it is for grades, the ACTs, which is huge. And a lot of people just don't have the information. So, what Flex is for is to educate, to help put everybody on the same page so that we're raising these kids together. You doing something, I'm doing something, but everybody's on the same page. All right.
Hey, man. So, hey, man, let the people know about the Flex, where they can go and start, because I know the Legends game stuff is going to be on the Flexx Sports. You got a lot of certified dog stuff. A lot of camp stuff is going to be on there. We're going to put up the Legends game real shortly for people that, if you want to look at a lot of these kids who were in Future Stars when they were in 8th grade, 7th, 6th grade. Now they played in my junior All-Star game. Where can the people go to see everything they want to see on the high school level?
Well, on the high school level, you go to Flexx Sports on YouTube. On YouTube, look up Flexx Sports, and that's FLXX Sports. Okay. Also follow us on Instagram and Twitter, Flexx Sports, FLXX Sports.
All right, and on the youth level, you already gave that to them, but I don't recall you. And did you give them the YouTube channel for that as well?
That's R&R Sports. Everything is R&R Sports Media. R&R Sports
Social
Media
media.
for Twitter, for Instagram, for everything. Okay, even the website www.rnrsportsmedia.com.
Okay.
Yeah. So hey, my boy Tavares, we got question and answer. I'm gonna let you drop off, Cat, because I know you wanna get I'm gonna drop you off and bring Coach Hayes on, man. If y'all can see this puppy dog face, man, that he got. If y'all can see this, man. So let me hurry and get him on, man, because that man looking sad, like somebody got his the Cat. Hey, man, do me a favor and pick out some questions and let me know who. Text me the questions that we need to go over because it's question and answer time. So hold on one second.
You already know.
Yeah, let me get this boy up out of here. Cat up out. Let me add Hayes back in. Hey, yeah. Hey, but at least Cat. Hey, man, Cat is still
Hey, let me
smiling. I
tell
can
you
see
something,
Cat in the
AG.
background. He's smiling, but boy, them light
Hey, let me
skinned
tell you.
brothers. Them light skinned brothers, you can tell when their feelings get hurt.
Listen, you just mad because Albie Show put us on. But listen, let me tell you something, man. You had me feeling like the last one picked at the kickball game, dog. I'm back there, you know what I'm saying, playing producer.
Yeah, man.
It's all good. Listen.
Yeah, man.
But that was some good stuff y'all were talking about, man. That's awesome. That's good.
Hey, man, we got to get on these questions and answers, man. And I definitely, Faheem, got to leave you on because Ryan Nolan brought up a valid point. He was just saying that you need to make sure that people know that the payments can be broken down as well.
Oh, you're talking about as a whole for the game?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, we always. I mean, with Future Stars game, I will say this: Val always in cards sit back and say we know that everybody can't sit back and put out the whole deal, so we break it out. We break it up into 3 payments. We break it up into 3 payments. I mean, we know everybody don't have it. Things happen, life-changing decisions. But sometimes, as a parent of student athlete, you got other responsibilities. So we figure, like, hey, how can we help you? We're going to break this down into 3 payments, so you can get this going. So you're going to make a deposit to know that we're on there, and you make the other 2 payments as we go along. But we also got to understand this is a business. And certain things got to be paid at a certain time, and that sometimes us being lenient towards that, we get taken advantage of. So that's where it's at. But we do understand that, hey, you may not have your $400 right now one time, but what we're going to do is you pay your first 100, and then you're going to break the other 300 up into 2 payments, and then we go from there.
Yeah, and another thing, I don't know if we went over, but usually when you guys have the camp, those kids are staying at the college campuses. So
they stay on campus.
Right. So, but Don Draper asked, NAI or NCA, where should the average high school kid camp as a priority? Man, at the end of the day, what people don't understand, and this is the funniest thing to me, is when you go to, and this is a true story, when you go to Clemson's camp, you'll have probably 15, 20 D2 schools because now the other D1 schools can't work the camp. So that means now, back in the day, they could have a Tennessee Chat or someone else work the camp. Now they have D2, NAI, and all that. I literally took a kid, we went by Clemson, because the NAIAs, they don't have a lot of camps available because what they want to do, and the Division Twos, is because what they do is they go to Clemson camp because everybody want to have a kid that they think fell off. Because I literally went by a school, I'll say their name, Central Arkansas. I had a kid that we went to Clemson's camp. We went to Central Arkansas, they went to Clemson. They didn't offer, none of the kids were in Central Arkansas, but they offered them at Clemson. Because hey, they felt some kind of way. They felt they were getting something. Matter of fact, the kid started at quarterback for him this year as a true freshman. But I think that parents should make sure that you get more bang for your buck because when you go to a Clemson camp, and once again, you need to go to one-day camps regardless of where you go. But when you go to these camps, they're gonna be a lot of, usually, especially in those areas like North Carolina, South Carolina, Kentucky, Tennessee, where they have a lot of smaller schools, they're going to be there, and they give you an opportunity to be seen by more than just, though you can get bang for your buck where you're being seen by, 8 Division II schools in South Carolina, North Carolina, versus if, they don't have camps for you to be seen at.
I also think that, when Don's saying, like, what's NAIA or NC2A, it's about what's good for you. Like everybody is not an NC2A player. NAI is maybe where they go, maybe, and it rolls with the punches. Man, we don't know what goes on in our households. We don't know what holds kids back. We don't know that, man, it didn't happen for them right now, and they may have to go to an NAIA school. And not trying to say they have to finish up there. I always talk about it, man. I went to several schools, bro. I can say several. I went to several schools, but I knew where I wanted to end up at, and I still wound up playing D1A football, and I had to go to junior college to get back on that track. Same thing with NAIA football. You might need to go there to get that scholarship and to play one solid year of ball, and then just to get some film, and might have to transfer if you're still pursuing that dream to go to a D1A school. Now, what is it? What may take place after that? You might have to go somewhere after that. After they got your film and redshirt, you might have to take out a loan for a semester just so you can participate on a scout team, so they can see that, man, this guy's a baller. But I've seen it plenty of times to where student athletes have gone there, taken out a loan, ball, and they're in the weight room or meet the next day, and they're saying, "Hey, such and such has earned a scholarship," and from there they're D1A athletes. So it's really depending on how much they believe in themselves and what they're at the end of the goal. What they're looking at with their goals and going from there.
Yeah, I think he was talking more though on the ball of like, should a kid go to an NAI camp or a NCAA camp? And I challenge people all the time to really see how many NAI camps are out there, because
it's not
right, because those guys are really trying to get their kids.
Yeah, it's not that many, but you just said it, AG. The best thing we were talking earlier in the earlier segment, if you should go to these camps out of state, you just said it. North Carolina got all those schools right in that one little area. And the thing is, the smaller schools, the D2s, the NAIAs, so forth, are going to be at those camps, and they're going to be working those drills. So it's great for our Florida kids to get outside of the state lines, because they get caught up with these big three, and then plus, like I said, the UCF, USF, and you get plenty of scholarships like that, man. And that's a great deal. So I'm big on promoting.
Well, I beg to differ on that. Kyle, hit me on this, man. A lot of things have changed, man. You got right now, Florida got D2 schools and NAIA schools out here right now that are actually, you just grabbed here. You got Nova's about to get a school in get a program one more year. Then you got Florida Tech. You got all those schools like Edward Waters. So we do have it now. It's just that our student athletes are not trying to really get into that. They're just looking at, they want the big boys. But I think if Florida come together like those other programs, and they have one camp to where all the colleges that have football programs in Florida are there, it would be huge.
The thing is, you know
the but here's the thing about those schools. Let's be honest. One, to get in Florida Tech, you got to have a 33. You got to be an astronaut. The astronaut teach us, so that eliminates a lot. Right? I mean, I'm being honest with you. You know what I mean? The dude that was on the moon teach at the school. So, I mean, that eliminated a lot of kids. Unfortunately, our HBCUs, they want to get a Division I throwback to the guys that made a mistake, so they're not looking at those kids. You know what I mean? West Florida just got in. And again, Kaiser and those are just getting started, so they're not even, Kaiser, they're doing some recruiting now, so those are not really just on the table just as of yet. But for these kids that's just coming out this year, maybe even next year, we got to unfortunately, we got to get out and get those different opportunities.
Yes.
And so with that being said, we got to make sure that we experience two different opportunities, because being from the crib, we thought it was only about you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? And I would tell people,
they dropped off on me.
And
I'm sorry, we got a few minutes, dog. But we only thought it was about
happened to me.
Man, I got three UM people that's all around me. We can discuss that at the end. But let me go back to Dr. William wants to know, when are the R&R camps? I think R&R is going to have their camps out. Their camp list out is going to be out in March. I think most of the camps are going to be after that. So we'll make sure that we put it on here once Alan gets that. Someone asked a certified dog. When are they? They're going to be. What's the age limit? This is for guys that are going to be 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th. So that's what the certified dog camp is for the high school kids. Let's see what other comments we got up in here. Let's see here. I think Alan sent me some comment. Hold on, let me check real quick. Something that he wants to be known. Marcus Waters. What's the earliest a high school should take the ACT or SAT? Also, which test is looked upon better? That's a question, Coach Hayes. I know you can answer because that was part of your job. So talk to me.
Sure. I mean, so again, the schools are now offering the SAT. You know what I mean? It's not like you have to sign up on Saturdays anymore. So the schools are actually offering the SAT for free. So those kids normally take them in 11th grade. I always tell people, do not take SAT before you take geometry, because geometry is a huge component of the SAT. So what happens is a lot of people, again, based on your schedule or however that works out, I don't get into it, but if your child has not finished geometry, he probably not going to do well on the SAT. So he has to make sure he has a solid grade in geometry, because that's the component of the SAT. So until he finishes that course, he shouldn't even be taking the SAT. Hopefully he does take it in 10th grade and passes it. But if you need to take a refresher or whatever, I strongly suggest you don't take it, because you probably won't pass.
Hey, good stuff. What's your take on that, Faheem? No, matter of fact, Faheem, let me give you a whole nother question. I don't like this kind of stuff. All right. The question was, should Florida kids camp more in the Mountain West or Southwest? What areas are oversaturated as far as camp goes?
I think to each his own, man. I think that parents, you got to know where your budget is at for you to travel. I think that you always should be able to go out the box to go ahead and get your student athlete more exposure. But you looking at it, if you're from South Florida and you're trying to go to the Mountain West, now that's a whole. There's no reason to go those places. There's a database, man. The coaching realm is so small, and they talk to each other to where they get information from other camps. So, like prime example, it may be a school like at Syracuse that may be recruiting you, but you're at a camp in Georgia, but they couldn't get there. They will make a call to their guy and say, man, how that kid from West Palm Beach do? Such and such, such and such. And they go, oh, he did well. So I think if you have even though I know that the West Coast, like UCLA and USC and Cal, I think that's a whole other area. If you really want to go to that West Coast school, you should pick one camp where you think all those people are going to be there. But make sure you're within your budget and make sure you do what you have to do. And don't get beat up like, hey, we're going to go on the West Coast and all that stuff and go to these camps. No, because if they want you on the East Coast, they're going to want you on the West Coast too.
Well, the thing is nowadays, man, with with all the electronics, they can find you anywhere. So
Yeah.
I mean, that's why, believe it or not, a lot of these coaches from the furthest you might want to go is Texas. Because
Yeah.
you go to a camp in Texas, everybody from the Southwest and the West, they kind of come to the Texas. Everybody from the North and the East, they kind of come down towards Florida. There's a lot of camps that you can be seen at. But what I advise any parent or any person out there, which I do when I do my bus tour, is I'm going to get all my kids' highlight films to them coaches way ahead of time, so that you can see them ahead of time. And if you like them, so you come to this camp, you're able to watch them and see what they can do. But one thing for certain is we got to get people to make sure that their kids are prepared to go to camp, like as far as individual drills and all that kind of stuff. Because I've seen it happen. The kids who know what they're doing, first of all, they're going to be at the front of the line. Think about it. You know that. The kid is comfortable. He jumping to the front of the line like, hey, let's go. You can tell him, hey, I need you to do X, Y, Z, like bet. He ready to do it. It for him. That kind of starts even. We see that at our camps and combines.
Yeah, I see it right now in middle school, man. And I tell this to the parents when I'm out there. I said, listen, I don't write no notes down until we get into those individual and them one-on-one drills. Because I see when the dude tuck his tail behind his butt and duck his head and go to the back, and I see that guy that's going on offense, he's going on defense, he playing tight end, he doing everything because he has that confidence and he wants the exposure. So if you to the occasion, you go tuck the tail and keep on, being in the background.
Hey, I see it.
Hey, but no, that's what we do, Fight. We're gonna skip the line. We're gonna do 100 times.
Man, look, we're
Hey,
not going to have this
and my
Miami.
man in the back talking about you keep skipping, and the coach loving it right now. You
Man,
know what I'm saying? So
y'all,
hey,
man,
that part of our DNA. You know what it is.
we ain't going to have this Miami conversation. Marcus Waters asked another good question. He says, "Does getting a bad test score early hurt you?" By the way, for those who don't know,
Oh,
Marcus
can I answer
Waters.
that? Can I answer that?
Let me tell you this. For those who don't know, Marcus Waters runs Gridiron Kings, which does a great job with the babies, all getting them prepared, to understand that dog mentality, being in the All Star world. But go ahead, Faheem.
Marcus, I think that if you're going to experiment with the test, you do it with the PSAT. You don't do it with the SAT because I've seen it. I've seen it hinder people right now to where they scored a bad score, and let's say it wasn't that bad. It was an 860, and they scored that score the beginning of their junior year, and they went back and got a tutor, and they did everything they had to do, and they came back and scored 1100 their senior year, and they got red flagged
Yep.
and they sit back and try to figure out which is bad. I think it's horrible because I mean, if you sit back and do everything you got to do, so you get a better score, and just because you scored that much higher on it, now you got to go through disputing things. It may not be done in time, and now your scholarships that you may be able to get with that score is held up. And the scholarships are not waiting on. They're not waiting on you. They're going to give it to somebody else. So you got to be strategic on the moves that you make. Take the PSAT and then figure out where you're at with it, and then make sure that your student athlete is ready to take that test when they go on it.
Okay, guys, we got 5 minutes.
I'm gonna say this one thing about that. Sorry, I want to add to this. Also, schools, what they do is they call super score. So they'll take the best of both components and add it to make one test. So if you happen to have, a 400, say a 600 on the English on this test, and then you happen to have, say, a 700 on another day on another test, they'll add those two together for parents that don't understand that. So that's
Yes.
called super scoring. They'll take the best of the two scores, put them together, and make one test out of it.
Hey, the only other thing that, and we're going to probably tackle this next week, we're going to have to, because a lot of questions are coming in about education and exactly that. Last question. We've got 2 questions left. Tim King says, what grade should you register with the NCAA? Coach Hayes, you can answer that because I know you know that.
Yeah, you call it clear how they call it eligibility center now. So
Right.
you can go in right now. If your kid is usually in 11th grade, you should definitely, by 11th grade, you should definitely register with the eligibility center. Go in, make sure all of the courses, usually a counselor has to submit those courses to the NCAA to make sure all your core courses are properly submitted to the NCAA so they can be calculated. Also, I do want to say this, be careful with the online courses. Here in Orlando, we have 2 online sections. We have what they call Florida Virtual, and then we also have Edgenuity. If you take Edgenuity, it does not count towards NCAA eligibility. Even though they offer both, say English 3, NCAA does not count towards the Edgenuity, but they do take Florida Virtual. So you have to be very cautious with that.
Yeah.
Also, they got to know what their core classes are, man. A lot of parents don't know what that weighted GPA is in the core classes. And we say it's simple. 4 times 4 equals 16. It's your 4 math courses, your 4 science courses, your 4 social science courses, and your 4 English courses. And that's what your weighted GPA is. And if you're not on the road to have that done, which is your 16 core courses, you're already shooting yourself in the foot.
Yeah. Well, and basically just so that, let me just piggyback on what Kyle said. You'd want to make sure that you start registering them in no later than the fall of the spring of their junior year. But please know that because of what the NCAA is doing now, after your junior year, you're locked in. You can't take no classes over. There's no, so, at that point, you got to have a certain amount of credit. You got to have, what is it, 10 hours your junior year.
Of your 16.
Yeah, or if you don't have 10 to your 16, then you can't even go to college. And that's what people don't understand now. That's the new rule, and that's a very important rule because back in the day, kids would wait to their senior year and take 6 or 7 core classes to graduate and, get off to school. Now you got to have 10. And so we'll get into it on the next show, but I highly recommend that everybody now has 7 classes. At least 5 of them should be core classes. I recommend 6. But the last question, and I probably am the one to answer this one. And so I'll answer and then I'll let you guys say what you want to talk about. Marcus Waters asks, is 7-on-7 becoming more important for a quarterback than actual game film? Hell no. And I do 7-on-7. Your game film is way more important than 7-on-7 film. I don't know one college coach in America that watches 7-on-7. And this is from someone who not only does 7-on-7, who hosts 7-on-7 events, been doing it since 2012. There is no, at the end of the day, they're going to look at your game film. Know why? Because at the end of the day, it's nothing like when them bullets coming at you. When you got Tyler Davis, 6'2", 295 coming at you. Hey, that dude, Carson Beck from Manrich, hey, got all the respect in the world. I saw that man with Tyler Davis still hanging on him. He running to his left, threw it to the right, 50 yards for a touchdown. Hey, everybody can't do that. There's a reason why that boy got Alabama. So please understand, game film, 7-on-7 is a tool. But ain't nobody getting recruited off of 7-on-7. We said that last week. If you get recruited off 7-on-7, it's because your college coach, your 7-on-7 coach knows coaches. Dennis Marijuana, Dennis knows coaches. AG Waseem, Keywan Ratliff, we know coaches. Pro Impact, they know coaches. South Florida Express, they know coaches. Like, that's what people don't understand. You're getting recruited. Ricky Saylor didn't Tampa knows coach. BJ Hall, he knows coaches. He's a coach. Those are the kind of guys. Great Woodrow Grady, Team Tampa. Those are the kind of guys that you're not getting it because of what you're doing on the field. You're getting it because they're going and talking to coaches. So with that being said, man, we about to get up out of here. Hey, Faheem, I'm gonna bring your boy Cat back on in case he has some parting words. Hey, Faheem, you go first since my frat brother, and I always am gonna defer to the frat first.
Hey, man, I appreciate you having me, man. Tell athletes, man, that Future Stars Game, log on to the site, futurestarsgame.com. We got 6 more locations. Our last one is in Fort Lauderdale, so I'm definitely looking forward to seeing those student athletes. I got one thing to say about Future Stars Game. We're probably the only middle school all-star game that student athletes walk away from the colleges with offers. And it's happened in the last 3 years. 7th and 8th graders has walked away from those schools with offers. So, AD, all you guys, man, I appreciate you guys having me on. And always remember, you're a student before you're an athlete. And I'm signing out, my brother.
Hey, I'm going to sign you out, but hey, for the record, so everybody here, you agree that Pump Water going to be a sponsor for the Certified Dog. And
hey, I already owe you anyway, so I already owe you one.
All right, Coach, I gotta holler at you too. Hello.
all right, boy. We'll chop it up. All right, Coach Allen, you got anything? Cat, the videographer supreme. You got anything you want to share with the people before we get up out of here?
Not necessarily. Just letting everybody know that I appreciate everybody for actually tuning in and share it, post it, repost it. Like, knowledge is the power. And if we don't share this knowledge between everybody, between these parents, then we're all going to be in the dark. And that's not what we're trying to do. Let's elevate Central Florida together and get these kids to school.
Hey, appreciate it, man. Hey, we'll chop it up later, man. Much love. All right. And Coach Hayes, the infamous Coach Hayes, the light-skinned bandit, his feelings. I swear to God, y'all, if y'all could have seen this man picture, man, he was hurt. Man.
Why you say that, man? I knew I wasn't on. I know you still can see me, but I was just chilling, man. I wasn't tripping. I was actually listening. I was actually learning something. If you want to know the truth.
All right, man. What kind of part of shots you got for the people out here until next week?
All right, man. Hey, for real. Hey, AG, I appreciate it as always, man. I do want to say this. Yesterday, CoachHayesFootball hit his first 100 subscribers. Don't laugh at me, dog. We're just getting started. So we hit our first 100 subscribers. I'm no longer youtube.com/123XYFFMZF. I am now youtube.com/CoachHayesFootball. So if you want to see me, we talk about everything from schemes, we talk about positions, we talk about philosophy, we talk about offense, defense, special teams, whatever you want. So just search me on Coach Hayes Football on YouTube, man. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And I'm also on Facebook, Coach Hayes Football, and Instagram, Coach Hayes Football. Appreciate it, AG, man. See you next week, man.
Hey, man, I'll see you next week. Hey, thanks a lot, everybody. I'm AG Waseem. I got all this stuff, but I ain't gonna, you can't come behind, Pretty Boy Floyd, the light-skinned bandit that was over there sulking. Like I say, man, I wish I had a
Hey, you said it wrong. Pretty Ricky's.
All right, we're Pretty Ricky. Hey, all right, boy. We'll chop it up. Hey, man, we'll see y'all next week. Peace.
Sure enough, man. Appreciate it, man.